Hi everyone, welcome to week 5 of U101. If you're having trouble sort of doing those different levels of focus, it's a very easy exercise that you can do sort of around the house, and you look a little foolish, but it doesn't matter because you're at home. But take a piece of paper, fold it in half, and then just cut it. It doesn't really cut it, rip it, it doesn't matter. All you want at the end is a little square, and that's what's called a pathfinder. So you take this and you sort of look around at different parts of your house, and as an example, this is me as a whole, but then all of a sudden, if I do this, then there's a big focus on my eyes and whatever they're doing. So there's this different way of creating hierarchy, and this is just a really good way of framing that for you. So as you're walking around the house, you look at your sofa, and then there's a sofa right here, so that's why. You look at your sofa and then you say okay, well, it's blue, and that's the end of what you want to say about it. But then all of a sudden you put the pathfinder up, and it's well, there's this crease, there's this material, there's sort of a different discoloration in that area because maybe it's hit the sun a little bit more, and that gives you an idea of the quality of the material and how light fast it is, which is its ability to absorb light and not fade away. And then you can maybe compare with the green cushion that's on there, because I don't know how to match colors right now. But then you look at it and it's got that blue and that green, and they're different textures and they're different colors, and the light is hitting it in different ways. So then you get to be able to start talking about it, and that's what is the key point. Next, you're going to start drawing. This is so exciting, officially draw in a real capacity. So this works out really well because I've been working on a project right now and there's been a lot of drawing going on. So this is an example of the key, nope, we talked about this, that is not how you present things. This is an example of the materials that I've been using. So pencil, there's two different weights of pencils, an H pencil and a B pencil. H is hardness, B is boldness. So the hard ones aren't going to draw as thick a line or as heavy a line, and then the bold ones are a thicker line. So you can use sort of the H for the general idea, draw the shape, and then you come in with the H to draw the official lines. There's a Pro marker there. It's just a felt tip marker. I get a really, really, really light colored gray, only because it's super nice to start drawing lines when you have an idea of where you want to go, but you don't necessarily know. And it doesn't really show in an official way on the paper. It sort of fades into the background, but it's a really great tool. You can get a Prismacolor, Winsor Newton, I have. They're a little bit pricey. They're £2-3 a go. But you don't need, I have a box of them, and do I use them? Do I not? So you don't need a million of them. You really just need one if you want. And then a ruler is really essential. You've got one in your U101 box. And then a sharpener, sharpeners are key, and an eraser. And then also you're going to, I think in the exercise, it talks about tracing paper. I think you have some in your U101 box, but if not, you can go and get a roll of tracing paper. So it's just this, and it lasts forever. I had this, I think I had this one my entire bachelor's degree, and I'm still nowhere near done. And it costs maybe £2. They cost nothing, but it's super useful when you want to trace. When you draw something, then you want to maybe transfer it over, or there's some things that you like, some things you don't. You can't really see the lines anymore because you put too many of them in. So this just goes on top. You trace around, then you transfer it over. Well, you draw on the other side, then you put it back on, transfer it over, and then there you go. You've got it. New fresh lines on a new fresh drawing. One other thing, you're going to be, as I said, tracing your hand. You're going to start seeing different things as you're tracing it, different geometries. I think that's the key point. If you want to take this a bit further, you can try to draw the hand yourself. So I'm just going to give you a few tips on sort of what to look at. So I'm going to take a photo of it, and then a photo of my hand, and then we can talk about it because you'll have a version of it. So I'm going to take, oh, no, that's backlit. So I'm going to take that photo. Great. So I'm just putting it on there. Now, some of the things that you can notice is, let's say my major finger, my middle finger, is the tip of it is lining up with the top knuckle of my ring finger. So that's a line, right? And then the bottom knuckle of my index finger is lining up with the top of my thumb. That's another reference. So it's all about creating these different geometrical references so that it's very convincing and that you aren't imagining what a hand looks like, but you're actually really just saying exactly what that hand looks like. So there's all these different sort of lines that you can see. Look at, what the shape is doing, what the shape is, but also I think we had talked about before, the negative space, so the space that things aren't occupying. So instead of looking at, tracing from the inside out, trace from the outside in of like, what are the shapes, that little V shape between my index finger and my middle finger is a very different V shape to the one between my middle finger and my ring finger, and then is also a different shape to the one between my ring finger and my pinky. One of the tips that I can suggest is that have good lighting so that the contrast is really good, so you can really see those differences, but it's all about creating that geometry. And remember that a hand, like the way that it's set up, is sort of like, the basics is this sort of square box, and then you've got this one poking out of it, and then you've got these four coming out. But these four fingers don't actually just stick out, straight. They come from the center, so they're all coming in from this like point on your wrist. So remember that when you're drawing them outwards. Have fun with it. That's the extent of what I want to say. If you want to draw, that's some of the tips. But if not, trace them, and then you'll start noticing these different sort of geographies in your hand, sort of on the page, as you're going along with the course. Then in another point, they talk about, I think in the last part of this week, the design processes. There's talk about failure. As much as like I agree with like failure is an opportunity to learn, like yes, I'm also that kind of person who's like, I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail in the first place. Like I want to be able to like get it good the first time. And really like failure is sort of a benchmark that you set for yourself. If you wanted to get a 90 and you got an 80, or you wanted to get like a really high grade and you got something lower, then like that can feel like a failure. But it's just about not looking at, like, oh, well, I didn't do well. Just look at how you can make it that much further, how you can get those extra points next time, how you can sort of like enhance whatever is happening. And like take what you've got, take where you are and then make it better. There was this one professor that we had in all throughout our design schooling, and you would go to her and you'd be like, okay, I have this idea, it looks great, and you show all the sketches, you show the prototype, you're like, it looks amazing, I think I'm a week ahead, this is going great, and she'd look at it and she'd just stand there and she'd go, très bien, recommence, which translates essentially to, very good, start again. And the idea behind that was that if you did it once really well, then the chances are, if you have to do it again, you're going to do it better. And that's where, I'm preaching it every single week, but like quantity over quality for now. Just like you make that one shape and then you make it again. You trace your hand and then you trace it again. And you draw your hand, you draw it again. You look at the sofa and you critique it and then you critique it again, because there's always going to be something that makes it a little bit further than the last time you did it. And that's sort of like what you want to start really embedding in your mind. Enjoy the week, enjoy the weather because it's still quite nice, and enjoy the work. Right, see you.